the internet. A place with endless possibilities and all sorts of content. Happy memories, new arrivals, DIY, lots of food.
You don't like it?
And, just adorable. But in the midst of the joy, there is also darkness. Personal information is rife in the digital world, and if yours is ever maliciously divulged without your consent, well, that's doxing.
Doxing derives from the word dox or documents, and it comes from the hacking culture of dropping documents. It's sharing someone's information online without their consent, and often with the malicious intent to attack them and undermine them. That could include, for example, sharing someone's home address, financial information, telephone number, intimate photos, private photos.
To find that information, doxers might go through search engines, social media histories, or data broker websites. And in some cases, they hack. Once the information is collected, doxers post the content with the intent of violating the victim's privacy and harming them. And when it comes to targeting women, the content is often sexually abusive in nature.
Doxing is more dangerous and egregious for women than men because of patriarchal norms. If you see a topless man, it's not the same way of seeing a topless picture of a woman. They take two different dimensions because, society dictates that this is okay and this is not okay, and doxers play on these tunes.
The effects are also not felt equally across the world. A 2020 Economist Intelligence Unit report showed that although online violence against women is common globally, at least 90% of respondents in Latin America and the Caribbean, Africa, and the Middle East had been affected.
It started in 2019 with just the initials of my name to say that this kind of women wants to ruin our morals, wants to ruin our religion.
Karima Nadir is a human rights advocate in Morocco. She says she endured a year-long defamation campaign in the form of many online articles, and in tandem, Karima was also doxed. In the midst of the lies, true personal information was published online without her consent.
In 2020, it goes to calling me a whore, a person that sleeps with everybody, that had sex for money. They were mentioning the city and the neighbor that I was living in. And after that, it went far to even discuss my right of being a mom. They ended up by publishing the birth certificate of my son. So I've decided to change my home and to go and live in another neighborhood.
When women are being doxxed, often there's a narrative spin, a web of disinformation and lies in order to smear a woman's reputation and effectively silence her.
I had many messages on my spam on Facebook. And at first, because of the shock, I started suspecting people around me. I was just in my room and closing the door and crying for hours.
Doxing takes a cultural dimension. For example, a woman's picture without a veil can be shared on social media. And when you look at the photo itself, it's very benign, it's very innocent, it doesn't really violate the platform's terms of services. But looking at the social and cultural context in which this doxing is taking place can be very dangerous and life-threatening to this woman.
Somebody posted a photo of me and somebody else on Twitter with a caption saying, "These are the two lesbians who have started a nonsense agenda in Ghana. Take a good look at their faces."
In activist Fatima Derby's case, the weapon of choice was a photo, as Fatima shared a picture of her solo supporting LGBTQ rights in Ghana. She and the friend she tagged as the photographer got attacked. The doxer combed through Fatima's friend's Twitter and posted a picture of both of them. In a comment, the attacker invited others to share their names and addresses.
Because I was panicking, my palms were sweaty and like my head felt hot, and then my heart is pounding because I'm like, what is this? Is somebody going to show up at my gate? I also felt a lot of guilt because I felt that I had put somebody else in a compromising situation. Because now random people who have not heard of like in years, messaging me saying, hey, I saw this post. Is it true? Are you a lesbian? That kind of thing. And it's like, so if I'm a lesbian, does it mean that I deserve this? But it was an overarching sense of helplessness. Like, I'm reporting to Twitter, they're not doing anything. The feedback I got was them saying that they didn't find that post, it was in violation of any of their rules. But then given the context, given the increasing violence that LGBT people in Ghana were facing, especially at the time, that was extremely dangerous, extremely violent.
2 days later, Twitter took down the post. This was after Fatima contested their decision and was asked to provide context as to why the post should not stay up.
For days, we couldn't leave the house. Even when I had to go out, like I was wearing sunglasses and a nose mask, I had to change my hair, just do everything to not be recognized. It created a sense of unsafety. You don't know who is watching you. It was a harrowing experience.
On social media, the reporting mechanisms for users are unfortunately not sufficient. There's also the question of jurisdictions and how each country might look at the act of doxing, noting that in many countries, unfortunately, doxing is not illegal.
If a doxed victim is blamed for being guilty or responsible, it's the same thing as blaming sexual assault victims of being responsible of what happens to them.